The arena was silent, too silent. Not a whisper, not a hum. Just the faint vibration of alien machinery deep beneath the floor. Hundreds of students from dozens of star systems hovered along the viewing galleries, their eyes wide, their appendages twitching nervously. Today was the day the species of the galaxy tested each other in combat, and the humans, those fragile, soft-skinned creatures everyone whispered about, were to be judged. Kairos, the instructor of the Centauri Combat Academy, cleared his throat. His 6 eyes glimmered with a mix of curiosity and disdain. "Observe carefully," he intoned, voice like the grinding of stone. "The humans are unpredictable and dangerous, though few believe it." A human stepped onto the platform. His name was Ronan, though in these halls it meant nothing. Names carried weight only among your own kind. He was tall, lean, and bore the scars of a Deathworld childhood, a planet where the soil could burn, predators hunted like wind, and storms shredded cities in hours. To the aliens, he looked fragile. To Ronan, the galaxy had yet to see fragile. The arena walls shimmered and expanded, revealing a test environment. Jagged cliffs over a searing lava pit, robotic drones with clawed appendages, and shifting platforms designed to throw even the most experienced alien fighters off balance. Kairos's voice cut through the tension. "Humans survive the trial. Others observe, learn." Ronan's lips curved in a faint smile. He didn't need encouragement. Survival had been his only teacher for years. He flexed his fingers, feeling the old pain of broken bones still whisper beneath the skin. A reminder. A promise nothing could crush him that hadn't tried before. The drones activated with a high-pitched whine. The students gasped as the platforms began to tilt violently, the floor beneath Ronan buckling. A typical alien fighter built for strength and precision would have faltered immediately. Ronan leapt. His movements were fluid, almost lazy, but precise. He landed on a narrow ledge as the platform beneath him crumbled, his body twisting mid-air to kick a drone into the lava. Sparks flew. The gallery erupted in whispered panic. How was he? Not struggling? One of the Centauri students, a 3-limbed fighter named Virek, hissed through his mandibles. "That's impossible. He should have fallen." Kairos's 6 eyes narrowed. "Watch closely, Virek. Humans carry deathworlds inside them. They have adapted to chaos we cannot even simulate." Ronan didn't speak. Words were unnecessary. His eyes scanned the arena, calculating. A swinging drone approached from the left, claws spinning like whips. He dove, rolling across the molten floor, then kicked off a jagged rock to spring into a mid-air flip. The drone's claw caught only empty space. He landed lightly, and the lava hissed beneath him. A low murmur ran through the alien spectators. This was more than skill. This was instinct honed to perfection, sharpened by environments that made their own test chambers look like cradles. Kairos leaned forward. Notice his awareness. Notice the calm. Most of you panic under pressure. He thrives in it. But not everyone was impressed. Shara, a young Krillian with scales that shimmered silver and blue, whispered to her companion. "It's just luck. No being can survive that many variables." Luck, Ronan thought, was for those who hadn't been clawed by death or burned alive on their own planet. He would show them what it meant to carry a deathworld in your bones. The final stage appeared. A massive quadruped machine with serrated limbs, glowing eyes and speed that could rival any predator from the outer sectors. Ronan paused only a heartbeat. Every instinct screamed warning. But hesitation would be death. He ran straight toward it, baiting the creature with a feint to the left. Its claws swiped at him, fast, precise, but he rolled under, tripping it with a well-timed kick. Sparks erupted, metal groaned, and the students whispered in disbelief. None of their simulation had predicted this. Kairos's voice boomed across the arena. "Human, you are astonishing and terrifying." Ronan turned his gaze toward the gallery, the smirk never leaving his face. "I don't even know what terrifying is yet," he muttered under his breath. The machine collapsed in a tangle of molten wires. Ronan stood on the edge of the arena, chest heaving, eyes scanning the stunned crowd. Alien students whispered to each other, their confidence crumbling. Kairos nodded slowly. "This is only the beginning." Ronan felt a thrill run through him. They thought the test was over. They didn't know he was just getting started. And somewhere deep within the viewing chambers, unseen, a figure observed with a cold smile. "Interesting," it murmured. This human might change everything. The arena went silent again, but now it was different. It was a silence of dread, awe, and the unsettling knowledge that humanity was not to be underestimated. Ronan's Deathworld instincts were awakening. The galaxy was about to learn that some species could not be tamed. Not by logic, not by machinery, not by rules. And for the first time, the students realized the truth. This human was not playing by their game. The galleries were buzzing, but the sound was sharp, tense, like a hive of insects sensing a predator that didn't belong. Ronan's movements had left the students in shock. They had never seen someone survive the arena without hesitation, without error, without even flinching. Kairos, the six-eyed instructor, watched carefully. "Observe the next phase," he said. "It is psychological. Many will fail before their bodies even begin to tire." The arena walls shifted again. This time the floor beneath Ronan's feet became a translucent glass over a yawning chasm, filled with glowing energy streams. Illusions of falling monsters appeared and vanished in the flicker of a moment. The arena was designed to make even the most disciplined alien fighter question reality. Virek leaned forward, mandibles clicking nervously. "This is cruel." The human. "He shouldn't survive this." "None should." Shara, her scales rippling with nervous energy, hissed, "He's human. That means fragile. Maybe he'll panic." Surely he'll panic. Ronan didn't panic. He walked slowly across the glass, each step measured. The illusions flickered. Giant serpentine shapes, predators that should have torn him apart, visions of his own death. But he ignored them. They were tricks, distractions. On his planet, he had faced storms that could shred cities, beasts that could dismember a man in seconds, and poisons that could rot his blood within an hour. A sudden tremor shook the arena. The illusions reacted, becoming more vivid, more threatening. Shadows reached toward him, claws outstretched, fangs snapping. His heart raced, but he controlled it. This was no longer about survival. This was about demonstrating something aliens had never understood. Fear could be mastered, weaponized, and used. One of the students, a winged Arlani named Tirek, muttered, "Look at him. He's smiling. Smiling while the floor is cracking beneath him." Ronan's eyes flicked to a moving platform above, where a robotic mimic of his worst fears lunged. He leaped upward, grabbed its metal frame, and swung over the chasm with a fluid motion. The mimic crashed into the energy below, sparks exploding around it. Virek's 3 limbs twitched. "Impossible. No human could have trained for this. This is Deathworld instinct." Kairos nodded. "Exactly. This is why they call humans the Deathworlders. They thrive where others perish. They embrace the chaos we try to control." Ronan landed softly, eyes scanning the arena. A voice boomed through the speakers, distorted and alien, designed to break his focus. "You are alone. You are weak. You will fail." He stopped, closed his eyes, took a single deep breath. And then, in a voice calm and steady, he whispered to himself, "I am not alone. The storm is my ally. The predator is my teacher. I am ready." The illusions intensified, forming entire armies of spectral creatures around him. The air crackled with energy. Most aliens would have faltered here. Most would have screamed, panicked, or fallen into the traps of their own fear, but Ronan didn't flinch. He moved like a shadow, spinning, twisting, using the illusions against each other. A spectral claw struck and he ducked, flipping onto a nearby platform. A phantom beast lunged and he sidestepped it, sending it smashing into another illusion. Chaos consumed the arena, but Ronan moved through it like a predator in his natural world. Shara's eyes widened. He's playing with it. He's controlling it." Virek's voice was a harsh whisper. "I don't understand. No one should be able to do this." Kairos's gaze darkened. "They don't understand. They can't. But mark my words. One human Deathworlder is enough to rewrite their understanding of survival, combat, and resilience." A sudden tremor, stronger than before, shook the arena. The energy streams beneath the glass floor began to surge upward like molten rivers. The illusions became more aggressive, more unpredictable. Even seasoned Centauri fighters would have panicked. Ronan paused, feeling the heat beneath him, the vibration in the glass, the impossible weight of fear pressing against his mind.
He didn't hesitate.
He adapted. He jumped, slid, rolled, moving in a rhythm no alien training could anticipate. Each step, each decision was survival in its purest form. And then, Just as the last energy wave was about to surge, he landed at the far edge of the arena. The illusions vanished instantly, the chasm calmed, the robotic devices powered down. Ronan stood tall, chest heaving, eyes scanning the stunned gallery. The students were silent. Shock, fear, and disbelief battled across every face. Aliens who had trained their entire lives in combat simulations stared at him as if he were not a human, but something far older, far stronger, a force of nature incarnate. Kairos's voice finally broke the silence. This human, he does not fight like us. He fights like his world fights, and his world is unrelenting. Ronan looked to the galleries, his gaze sweeping over the alien students frozen in awe. He didn't smile, not yet. This was only the beginning of the test. The arena had revealed his strength, yes, but it had also revealed theirs. They were unprepared. They were soft. Somewhere in the shadows above, hidden from view, the cold figure watched again, smiling. So, the human survives fear itself, it murmured. We will see if he can survive the next trial, where the rules are not just survival, but consequence. Ronan didn't know what that meant yet, but he knew one thing. Whatever the galaxy threw at him next, he would meet it head-on. Because fear was a teacher, and humans had learned from the harshest teacher of all, the Deathworld. Ronan didn't have time to savor his triumph. The arena walls shifted again, folding outward like a blooming star. The spectators gasped as the next stage appeared. A massive urban labyrinth, crumbling towers, jagged debris, and streets that twisted in impossible angles. It was a battlefield designed not just to test strength or fear, but strategy, endurance, and the will to survive under absolute chaos. Kairos's 6 eyes glinted as he addressed the students. Now you will witness the ultimate combination: mental, physical, and tactical prowess. Most will fail at the first choice. The students leaned forward, murmuring in their alien tongues. Shara hissed. No being could survive this without preparation. Except him. Virek's 3 limbs twitched. I don't believe it. Humans cannot plan like this. They are reactive, not tactical. Ronan's eyes scanned the labyrinth. Broken machinery, collapsing structures, and patrolling drones littered the streets. The human instincts that had kept him alive on his death world kicked in. Every step was calculated. Every breath measured. Every instinct whispered, predict, adapt, survive. A voice boomed across the arena, distorted and mocking. This stage is different. Here your choices are fatal. One wrong decision, one hesitation, and you die. Ronan didn't flinch. He didn't hesitate. To him, choices had always meant survival or death, and he had been choosing correctly since he was a boy. The first ambush hit within seconds. Robotic centurions, their movements jagged and mechanical, lunged from the shadows. Most aliens would have panicked under a sudden swarm. Ronan didn't. He ducked behind debris, rolled across broken pavement, and leapt onto a collapsing tower. With a swift motion, he sent one centurion tumbling into the rubble and kicked another into a molten canal that ran like liquid fire through the streets. From the gallery, Virek whispered, How does he anticipate every attack? Kairos's voice rumbled. Deathworlders do not anticipate, they know. They carry the memory of survival in every cell. Chaos is their teacher. Danger is their ally. Ronan paused, realizing the labyrinth was shifting as he moved. Towers rose, streets twisted, and drones recalibrated. The test was dynamic, alive, and deadly. He had to think 2 moves ahead, or fall into traps designed to kill even the most seasoned warriors. Ahead, a bridge collapsed under the weight of a pursuing drone. Most would have retreated. Ronan charged. With a leap that defied gravity, he struck the drone midair, sending it plummeting into the energy below. He landed, barely balanced, eyes scanning for the next threat. Shara whispered, more to herself than anyone. No, it's not just survival. He's controlling the battlefield. He's commanding it. Virek's limbs twitched violently. This is unnatural. How can one human manipulate events like this? But Ronan didn't think about their astonishment. He moved through the labyrinth with a predator's grace, the human instinct guiding him. Every broken street, every falling tower, every mechanical predator became a tool, or an obstacle to master. Then, the test escalated. A massive gate slammed shut behind him, and the floor beneath him began to tilt violently, separating the arena into isolated zones. The distant hum of machinery signaled that more lethal drones, faster and stronger, were entering the labyrinth. Kairos's voice echoed. Here is the truth of the human Deathworlder. They do not rely on brute force alone. They innovate, adapt, and manipulate circumstances that others cannot perceive. Observe. Ronan felt the vibrations through his feet. His body tensed. One wrong move and he would be crushed under the tilting floor. But instinct guided him. He sprinted across unstable tiles, grabbed onto collapsing ledges, swung from beams, and avoided the crushing walls that closed behind him. A sudden shadow loomed above, a drone unlike any other, armed with energy blades that spun like scythes. Ronan met it head-on. He ducked, twisted, and rolled in a single fluid motion, using the drone's momentum against itself. Sparks flew. The drone shattered, and he barely landed as the labyrinth shifted once again. From the galleries, whispers turned into shouts. Impossible! How can one human do this? They're cheating! Kairos's gaze hardened. They are not cheating. They are human. They are Deathworlders, and they are rewriting the rules of this galaxy. But Ronan sensed more than the test. The arena, the illusions, the machinery, something else was at work. Unseen forces observed, measured, and adapted. This wasn't just a test. It was an experiment. And he realized with a surge of unease that the galaxy might not just be watching him survive, they might be learning from him. As he reached the final sector of the labyrinth, a massive explosion rocked the arena. Debris flew. Smoke filled the streets. Ronan shielded his eyes, heart racing, instincts screaming. And then, in the midst of chaos, he saw it. A massive figure taller than any alien in the gallery emerging from the smoke. Its form was cloaked, its eyes glowing coldly. Ronan's instincts flared. This wasn't part of the test. This wasn't programmed. This was real. Kairos's voice trembled slightly for the first time. Behold the unseen observer. It seems the human is about to face something even we did not predict. Ronan clenched his fists, muscles coiled, ready. His breath was steady, mind clear. The Deathworlder instinct told him, adapt or die. The figure stepped closer, and the arena seemed to hold its breath. And somewhere deep in the shadows, hidden from every eye, the figure whispered, interesting. Very interesting. Let's see if he can survive when the consequences are no longer controlled. Ronan didn't know what awaited him, but he knew one thing, he would survive. Not for glory, not for approval, but because survival was what he was born to do, and the galaxy had yet to meet a human like him. The arena trembled beneath Ronan's feet as the cloaked figure stepped fully into the open. Its presence radiated an oppressive weight, a cold intelligence that seemed to measure every heartbeat, every breath. It was larger than any Centauri, faster than any Krillian, and its armor glimmered like black ice. Every student in the gallery gasped, whispering among themselves, their disbelief blending with fear. Kairos's voice cut through the tension. This is no ordinary test. The observer does not merely watch. It evaluates. It punishes. It adapts. Ronan's jaw tightened. He had faced death on 1,000 fronts on his homeworld. Predators, storms, starvation, toxic air, collapsing cliffs. Yet this felt different. The observer didn't attack, yet its mere presence threatened to crush him. It studied him, learning from every step, every move, as if the arena itself were alive. The first attack came without warning. A series of energy spikes shot from the walls, carving trails across the floor toward him. Most aliens would have calculated the pattern and hesitated. Ronan didn't hesitate. He sprinted, rolled, ducked, and vaulted over the spikes with movements honed from years of surviving impossible odds. From the gallery, Shara's wings quivered in awe. It's anticipating him. But he's anticipating it back. Virek's limbs twitched violently. No being can respond that fast. Kairos's 6 eyes narrowed. Watch. The human's mind and body function as one. That is the Deathworlder advantage. This is instinct perfected. The observer shifted slightly and the arena changed. Walls rose and fell. Floors collapsed and reformed. Energy beams moved like sentient predators. Every attack was more sophisticated than the last. The gallery of alien students clutched at railings, whispering urgently, their confidence shattered. Ronan's breath was steady. Every nerve screamed alert, but he didn't falter. He ran, leapt, and twisted, turning the chaotic arena into a rhythm of survival. A collapsing tower became a ramp. A swinging energy whip became a shield. A falling drone became a weapon. He turned the environment itself against his unseen foe. Suddenly, a massive barrier dropped, separating him from the exit. The observer stepped forward and a voice, distorted deep metallic, boomed across the arena. You survive physical tests, but can you endure choice? Consequence? Ronan's eyes narrowed. Consequence. That word carried weight he recognized. On his Deathworld, every decision had been a gamble with life itself. Every choice had consequences measured in blood, pain, or worse. He understood what the observer demanded. From above, a series of platforms descended. On each platform sat alien combatants, students, instructors, warriors, armed and ready to attack. The arena wasn't just testing him physically now. It was testing his morality, his judgment, his ability to survive without destroying innocence. Shara whispered, disbelief cracking her voice. It's impossible. He has to fight, but if he strikes, he kills them. Virek's limbs twitched uncontrollably. Humans cannot survive this. They will hesitate, fail, die. But Ronan didn't hesitate. He assessed each combatant, predicting movements, calculating distances. His Deathworld training taught him how to use minimal force with maximum effect. A well-placed kick disarmed one without hurting them. A calculated feint sent another crashing into a padded wall. Each movement was precise, controlled, lethal only in necessity. Kairos's voice softened, almost reverent. Notice. No other species could balance survival with restraint. Deathworlders learned to preserve life when possible, but destroy without mercy when required. The observer's presence intensified. Energy ripples surged through the arena. Drones emerged from hidden panels, firing beams, claws, and traps. Alien combatants adapted to his moves, trying to block, counter, overwhelm. But Ronan moved faster, smarter, harder to predict. Minutes stretched like hours. The gallery was silent now, eyes glued to his every move. Even the students who had doubted him were frozen, unable to tear their gaze away. Ronan's resilience, his calculation, his raw instinct were rewriting everything they had learned. Finally, the last drone and last combatant faced him. The arena shifted again. The observer's form shimmered slightly, almost as if approving or analyzing. Ronan paused for the first time, just a fraction of a second, and made his move. In a breathtaking sequence of flips, vaults, and strikes, he neutralized the final threat, disarming them without fatal harm. The arena fell silent. Smoke rose. Sparks scattered like fireflies. The observer stepped back, tilting its head. Kairos's voice echoed, awed. The human survives consequence, and yet without cruelty. This is something no species here has achieved. Ronan's chest heaved, sweat and dust covering him. He looked to the gallery of alien students, some horrified, some inspired, all speechless. I don't fight to impress, he muttered under his breath. I fight to survive, and to live without regret. From the shadows, the observer whispered, barely audible, this one is not just strong. He is dangerous in ways we did not predict. Perhaps the galaxy itself is unprepared for humans. Ronan knew the observer was far from done. He could feel it like a predator testing him, calculating his limits, and he knew deep in his bones that the next phase would not just test his skills. It would challenge everything he believed about life, death, and survival. Yet even in that moment of looming danger, Ronan smiled faintly. I'm ready, he said. And for the first time, the arena seemed to acknowledge it, not as a human, not as a Deathworlder, but as a force the galaxy could not ignore. The arena pulsed with energy, walls shifting like living metal, and the air itself felt charged with anticipation. Ronan stood at the center, dust and sweat coating his skin, eyes scanning for the next challenge. The observer's presence was heavier now, more intrusive, as if the very machinery of the arena bent to its will. Kairos's voice resonated across the gallery, firm, yet tinged with unease. The next trial is one of consequence. Survival alone will no longer suffice. You will face threats that test the mind, the body, and the will. Choose wrong and perish. Ronan's jaw clenched. He had faced impossible odds on his Deathworld, but this was unlike anything else. Survival was no longer a personal matter. It now carried the weight of others' lives, of galactic expectation, and of the unseen observer who learned faster than he could move. From above, platforms descended, each carrying alien combatants armed with energy blades, plasma rifles, and telekinetic disruptors. The arena floor pulsed with shifting energy fields that could slice or crush anything in seconds. Ronan recognized instantly. Misstep here meant death. Not just for him, but for those around him. Shara whispered, her voice trembling. He can't control all of that. Virek's 3 limbs twitched violently. He has to fail. No human could adapt this fast, this efficiently. Ronan's gaze swept the arena. Every movement of the combatants, every pulse of energy, every change in the floor's tilt, he calculated in an instant. The Deathworlder instincts he had honed since childhood kicked in. Adapt, improvise, survive, and protect if possible. The first attack came. A trio of combatants lunged from opposite sides, weapons blazing. Most beings would have panicked, trying to fight or dodge blindly. Ronan didn't panic. He slid under the first attacker, tripped the second with a subtle sweep, and vaulted over the third, using the arena's energy pulses to propel him. Sparks flew as the combatants crashed into the floor, unharmed but temporarily disabled. From the gallery, Shara gasped. He's turning the attacks against them. He's not just surviving, he's controlling the chaos. Virek muttered almost to himself, impossible. No being can think that fast, move that fast, and care at the same time. Kairos's 6 eyes were sharp, watching every detail. Notice, the human is not merely reacting. He is predicting, adapting, and, most dangerous of all, learning from every variable in real time. Suddenly, the arena shifted violently. A massive wall of energy rose, slicing through the floor and separating Ronan from the combatants. Behind it, the observer's figure shimmered almost as if testing him. A voice boomed, metallic and cold. This trial is choice. Every decision affects survival. Will you act with compassion or efficiency? The galaxy watches. Ronan's mind raced. On his death world, every choice carried consequences. Kill or be killed, fight or starve, survive or fail. He understood instinctively that hesitation could cost lives. But he also knew something else. Efficiency without thought could destroy allies, innocence, or potential. He leapt into action. Using debris as cover, he maneuvered through the labyrinthine arena, disarming traps, redirecting energy pulses, and incapacitating alien combatants without permanent harm. Each move was precise, measured, and controlled. He was survival incarnate, but also something else, a protector, a force that could turn death into strategy, chaos into opportunity. The students in the gallery were silent. The disbelief had turned into awe. Some whispered, he's transcending combat, he's redefining it. Shara's voice broke through the whispers. No human could think this way. They're not supposed to. Virek's limbs twitched violently. He's teaching us. By fighting? Kairos's eyes darkened. This is more than training. This is revelation. The human is showing the galaxy what survival truly means. The arena shook again. Energy surges shot from every wall, every floor panel, every collapsing platform. Ronan's muscles burned. His lungs heaved, but his focus never wavered. He had learned to thrive under pressure. Every obstacle, every threat, every potential death was just another step in his rhythm of survival. And then, a scream. Not his own. From one of the platforms, a young student had miscalculated, teetering over the edge. The energy pulse beneath them surged, threatening instant death. Without hesitation, Ronan sprinted, leaped, and grabbed the student mid-air, rolling to safety just as the floor beneath them shattered into molten streams. The gallery erupted in shock. Shara's scales shivered. He saved them, all while surviving? Virek's mandibles clicked. Impossible. Humans should not be able to do this, and yet he did. The observer stirred in the shadows, a whisper of approval escaping its metallic tone. Fascinating. Not just survival, mastery. The human adapts beyond expectation. Ronan stood chest heaving, eyes scanning the arena. The trials were far from over. He could feel it. The observer had more tests, more consequences, more unknowns. And yet in that moment he felt a surge of certainty. No matter what came next, he would endure. Because humanity, born on death worlds, had learned a truth no alien civilization could comprehend. Survival was not enough. True strength came from adaptation, resilience, and the will to protect while facing annihilation. And the galaxy had never seen anything like him. The arena fell into darkness. The only light coming from faint glows beneath Ronan's feet and the distant hum of the observer's machinery. His muscles ached, his lungs burned, but he didn't pause. Every instinct screamed warning. This stage would not be like the others. The stakes were higher, the consequences more lethal, and the observer's presence heavier than ever. Kairos's voice echoed through the gallery, somber and sharp. This trial will test not just the body, not just the mind, but the human spirit itself. Every action has consequence. Every hesitation is fatal. Observe carefully, students. Learn from this, or perish mentally before physically. Ronan's eyes narrowed. The arena shifted again. This time the floor became a jagged maze of razor-sharp metal, molten fissures and energy pulses that could tear through bone. Towers of debris rose and fell unpredictably. Drones with adaptive AI patrolled every corridor. But above all, something new lurked. Shapes that mimicked life itself. Illusions designed to prey on the mind. Shara whispered, wings trembling. It's psychological warfare now. They're breaking him mentally. Virek's limbs twitched. He should have failed already. There's no way. But Ronan had survived worse. On his homeworld, storms ripped entire settlements from the soil. Predators hunted in coordinated packs, and death was not sudden. It was constant, relentless, and inescapable. His mind had been forged in fire, honed by suffering, sharpened by loss. Illusions, drones, energy pulses. They were obstacles, not threats. The first illusion appeared. His homeworld, burning and shattered, the screams of lost friends echoing through the air. Ronan froze, heart clenching. But then he breathed, focused, and stepped forward. "This isn't real," he whispered. "I am still here. I am still alive. I adapt." He moved through the maze, every step calculated. Razor floors, molten fissures, and falling debris were navigated with deadly precision. Every drone that lunged at him was neutralized not by brute force but by clever redirection, exploiting their momentum and programming against them. From the gallery, Shara's voice broke in disbelief. "How can one human survive this? This isn't possible." Virek's limbs twitched violently. I don't understand. This is beyond instinct. Beyond training. He's rewriting the rules." Kairos's voice softened almost in awe. "Watch, the human Deathworlder does not merely survive. He adapts, he calculates, he endures. He transforms obstacles into tools, chaos into advantage. This one is not just combat. This is evolution in motion." Ronan pressed forward. The illusions intensified, shifting into people he had lost. Threats that should have paralyzed him, traps that should have killed him. And yet each step, each movement, each decision was precise. He used memory, instinct, and raw survival skill, turning the arena itself against the illusions. Then came the final trial within the trial. A massive rift opened in the center of the arena, glowing with molten energy. From it emerged a figure, taller than any alien, armored, weaponized, and with an aura of authority and menace. It was not the observer this time, but a being sent by the unseen forces behind the tests, tasked to stop him. Kairos's voice trembled, a rare crack in his composure. "The envoy. It is sent to kill. Every move must count. Every choice may be the difference between life and death." Ronan didn't hesitate. He observed the figure's approach, predicting its attacks, analyzing its speed, anticipating its strikes. On his homeworld, predators hunted in packs. They attacked with coordination, cunning, and brute force. He had learned to fight as both predator and prey, to exploit weaknesses in instinct, movement, and environment. With a sudden, fluid motion, he leapt into action. The envoy struck with energy blades. Ronan dodged, rolled, and twisted midair. Sparks erupted. Metal screeched. The fight was brutal, precise, and fast, faster than anything the gallery could follow. The alien students were frozen in awe, whispering, "He's controlling it. He's adapting faster than the predator can attack." Shara's eyes widened. He's not just surviving, he's dominating. How is this even possible? Virek's limbs twitched violently. Humans. They shouldn't exist in this league. And yet he moves like a force of nature. Ronan's mind was clear. The envoy attacked again, faster, stronger. He didn't just react, he anticipated, manipulated, and countered. Each strike was a lesson in precision. Every dodge a demonstration of Deathworld instincts honed to perfection. Finally, the envoy faltered. Ronan exploited the moment, using a collapsing tower as leverage to topple the figure into a molten fissure. Sparks and smoke filled the arena. Silence followed. Kairos's voice echoed, reverent and awed. The human, he does not merely survive. He transcends the trial. He adapts, he learns, he dominates, and yet he retains the essence of life itself. Ronan stood, chest heaving, eyes scanning the arena. The observer's presence lingered, watching, measuring, and perhaps even reconsidering what it believed possible. Somewhere in the shadows, the observer whispered, a rare note of intrigue. So, the human not only survives, he conquers. Fascinating. Perhaps he is the anomaly we have been searching for. Ronan didn't smile. Not yet, there was still more to face. But deep in his bones he knew this. The galaxy was starting to understand that a human Deathworlder was not just a survivor, but a force that could not be controlled, predicted or broken, and the unseen consequences of his actions were only beginning. The arena was quiet, almost unbearably so. Smoke curled from molten fissures and the metal towers swayed dangerously, as though the structure itself feared the outcome. Ronan stood at the center, battered, sweat-streaked, but unbroken. The envoy had fallen, the illusions shattered, and yet the presence of the unseen observer lingered, heavier than any weapon or force he had faced. Kairos's voice broke the silence, resonant and tense. The final test begins now. The observer will challenge him directly. Survival will demand everything: strength, skill, ingenuity, and spirit. Ronan's gaze swept the arena. Shadows twisted unnaturally. Energy surged along the walls, pulsing in rhythm with his heartbeat. And then, from the center of the molten fissures, the observer emerged fully, tall, armored, its eyes glowing with calculated intensity. The figure radiated power, intelligence, and an otherworldly awareness that seemed to anticipate every movement before it occurred. Shara's voice trembled. It's here. He has to face it alone. Virek's limbs twitched uncontrollably. No human should survive this. No being could. Ronan didn't flinch. He had learned long ago that the Deathworld didn't negotiate. It didn't pause. It demanded adaptation, endurance, and relentless forward motion. And so he moved. The observer struck first, energy blades slicing the air with the speed of a supernova. Ronan rolled, vaulted, and ducked with precision born from years surviving Deathworld predators, storms, and impossible terrain. Every strike was met with a counter, every movement calculated to exploit a subtle flaw, every dodge a demonstration of instinct sharpened into artistry. From the gallery, whispers turned to gasps. Shara murmured, "He's anticipating it. Every move, every attack." Kairos leaned forward, awe in his 6 eyes. The human does not react. He calculates instinctively. He adapts faster than the predator can plan. This is evolution incarnate. The arena shifted violently. Floors collapsed, molten streams surged, and drones armed with energy disruptors descended from above. But Ronan moved as one with the chaos, turning every obstacle into a tool. He swung from debris, redirected drones into energy traps, and leapt from collapsing platforms to strike with precision at the observer's defenses. The observer paused for the first time, a subtle tilt of its head, as if surprised by the human speed, adaptability, and ingenuity. "Fascinating," it intoned, voice metallic yet edged with something almost like admiration. "You are unpredictable." Ronan's chest heaved, but his mind was clear. "Unpredictable? No," he muttered under his breath. "I'm human. We survive where others cannot. We endure where others falter, and we fight for more than ourselves." With a sudden surge of movement, Ronan closed the distance, dodging a lethal energy strike, using the momentum to disarm the observer's weapon. Sparks flew. Metal screeched. The gallery gasped. The observer staggered, but not from weakness. It was learning, adapting, recalculating. And Ronan, sensing this, pressed forward. He didn't strike to kill. He didn't strike to destroy. He struck to survive, to demonstrate control, to prove the principle he had learned on his death world. Strength without restraint is nothing. Resilience without purpose is meaningless. The battle raged across the arena. Every strike, every dodge, every maneuver was a ballet of instinct, intellect, and experience. And then finally, with a calculated feint, Ronan used the collapsing environment to his advantage, sending the observer tumbling into a containment field that held it immobile. neutralized but alive. Silence fell. The molten fissures cooled slightly. Smoke hung in the air. The gallery of alien students stared, mouths agape, mandibles trembling, wings frozen. Shara whispered, He did it. He won. Virek's limbs twitched almost violently. This human has rewritten every rule we knew. Survival, combat, instinct, everything. Cairo stepped forward, his voice soft yet thunderous. He is not just a Deathworlder. He is a revelation. The galaxy has underestimated humanity, and it will never do so again. Ronan's chest heaved. He was exhausted, bruised, and battered, but alive. He looked to the students in the gallery, their expressions torn between awe, fear, and something else. Inspiration. For the first time, they understood that survival, courage, and ingenuity could transcend species, technology, and expectation. From the shadows, the observer stirred, its voice calm yet edged with intrigue. Interesting. The human not only survives but masters. Perhaps the galaxy itself is unprepared for such a force. Ronan didn't reply. He knew the truth. This was more than victory. This was a message. Humanity, forged on Deathworlds, would not bow, would not falter, and would face the galaxy with resilience, ingenuity, and spirit that no machine or predator could break. And somewhere in the distant stars, the consequences of this battle began to ripple. Entire civilizations would reconsider their assumptions, alliances would tremble, and the story of the human Deathworlder would spread, not as rumor, but as legend. Ronan raised his eyes to the silent galleries, chest heaving. He whispered softly but firmly, We are not to be underestimated. We endure, we adapt, we survive, and we fight for more than just ourselves. The arena fell silent, the echoes of his words hanging like fire in the minds of every alien witness. The human Deathworlder had not just conquered the test, he had reshaped the galaxy's understanding of what it meant to survive, and the legend had only just begun.